growing up with the car for us was really no big deal. It was just a car that we had. For us, it was a Rolls-Royce, which of course by itself has a certain standing. But how special this car was, I had no idea. Very much later, I even realized what it is that we had. To be able to drive the car out and just see the joy on people's faces is fantastic. My name is Amir Jetha, and we're here today to talk about our Rolls-Royce Phantom II Continental streamlined coupe built by Gurney Nutting. It's a bit of a mouthful, but that's what it is. I remember so clearly opening the door, the sound the door would make, the click of the lock opening, the mustiness of the smells inside, the old leather, the dust, the carpets, the wood, the oil, the fuel. It's a very powerful memory. I first asked my dad if I could drive the car. I had just got my license, I was 18 years old. And he said, sure, if you can park it back in its garage, then sure, you can drive it. My dad, I know, used it regularly. He participated in rallies, he drove it as an everyday car. And growing up with the car, I remember being driven to school on the odd occasion. I remember going to ice cream. I remember it just sitting there and me playing in the car because I've always had an affinity for cars. It really was kind of part of our growing up in many ways. I had to prove to him that I could park it. It was a narrow street outside, turning into the garage, reversing, wall on one side, get in without touching anything. I demonstrated that, and from there on, he actually never even bothered to come with me to show me how to do things or how to drive it. I just started driving it. The Rolls-Royce Phantom IIs were manufactured by Rolls-Royce between 1929 and 1935. This particular one that we own happens to be the single last Rolls-Royce Continental ever built. This one went to Gurney Nutting, which at the time was considered to be one of the premier coach builders of its day. They only built probably 3 or 5 Continentals, and I think this was the only streamlined coupe version of it that they did, which is what makes it so rare and desirable. This is the actual build sheet that talks about, who the buyer was. And then it has a list of all the parts, the detailing, like the seats, the paint job. I guess they didn't have a category for cars that weighed so much. I mean, this car weighs about 2.6 tons, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So we actually paid tax on this car for many years. And in the tax book, it says motor lorry. It was ordered by the Maharaja of Jodhpur in 1935 and to these specific standards. So they wanted the green and cream, which was their polo team colors at the time. So I went and met Mr. Dosa, and because I had met him through my father, he had been part of the movement for many, many years, and he suggested that I talk to Mazban. And he said he's an upcoming restorer. He's the one you should be talking to.
I count myself really fortunate that Amir saw us worthy of this car, and whoever would have done this car, they would have got the recognition that this car gives to the restorer.
We decided to go back to original for the car, which meant changing its paint tones, means the interiors, the carpeting, all of that. But I think just the optimism that we had that we would do it right kind of saw us through. And it took a lot of patience as well. And thanks to Marasban, I mean, what started as a 6-month job took 2.5 years. But what really sold us on the idea was when we started taking that black and cream off, we found that original green.
And I remember Amir in all shades of the day. He would come up, stand there, then he got Wendy, I think Wendy's parents, Amir's parents, the whole family, everybody came to look at it.
That was a pretty big deal because we had put a tremendous amount of time into it, and for the public at large, the enthusiast community, to see this car back in condition that it was originally built was pretty amazing. Sure, it was a very emotional period or emotional moment for my father. Again, not something he would show at all, but I could tell that he was pretty proud of the way the car looked. One of the challenges of owning a car like this always is to make sure it's running well and it's reliable. There's an old saying that goes, Rolls-Royces never break down, they just fail to proceed, right? In our case, that's my wife, Wendy.
Hi, I'm Wendy.
I was just about to tell them about when the Rolls failed to proceed.
There are 2 times I can remember. The first time was during our wedding. When we were dressed and ready to leave for the venue, we go and get in the car, and it doesn't start. And Amir says, this is the car, tries and tries, and now we're reasonably late in a big way.
I wanted to fix it, but she forbade me from getting my hands there.
So we end up taking my father-in-law's Maruti 800 to our reception. To see a car like that, you think, well, it's a junker, you're probably saving it for parts maybe.
It was never a junker.
Well. I didn't understand actually until our wedding time, like that this car really meant something.
Remember this? This is Aliza desperately washing the car because she wanted to win the concourse that day. We were in Delhi for the 21 gun salute concourse. We were at the Budh circuit for the finale and the prize distribution. My third daughter, Aliza, who's very competitive, said, Dad, we need to win this. What do we need to do? Without even thinking about it, I said, at this point, the car just needs to look her best. She grabbed a cloth from the car and went and started wiping down the car feverishly, making sure there was no stains of any sort anywhere. Little things like this started happening and you start wondering, wow, this is something I really need to take care of. It was really after that when we realized that this car was a potential entrant for Pebble Beach, somebody called me and said, hey, is this something you might be interested in? Pebble Beach is really the World Cup of the vintage and classic car movement that happens once a year in Monterey, California. It is an absolute automotive extravaganza. Even an invite there is an incredibly rewarding thing to have. We were fortunate then to get invited for the cars of the Raj. So there were about 10 cars that went from India in that year.
You know, those sort of pictures, when you see of other cars, you dream, you know, one day one of our cars should be here. And it was really a touchy moment for me to see her there.
And then to receive Best in Class at Pebble Beach was, I mean, the nerves. I remember sitting in the front seat of the car and just shaking, like with excitement and anticipation.
Yeah. It's one that is kind of etched in your memory, and it's a pivotal moment for this ownership of this car, for sure. In my mind, using the car and enjoying it for what it is paramount. We've tried to take advantage of every situation that's presented itself in which we get to enjoy the car.
Things about this car is the people that you meet and the memories it triggers, and they start talking about things they remember from childhood, from places they visited. I mean, it really evokes wonderful conversation.
I was talking to my youngest daughter, Aliza, about what it means to her. She said she always thought about history as something you see in a museum or you read about in history books. But with this car, she realized that it's something that we happen to own and that we use and that we are creating by using it.